Hello and welcome. So, I intend for this to be quite, for the content to be quite diverse. It'll be based around exploring things that I like to do in my spare time, namely, learning languages, music, and playing Go, or learning how to play Go in a semi-competent manner. It's gonna be pretty relaxed, not really shouty or quick. I will be trying to learn the great game of Go. It's a very simple aesthetic. All the best games have simple aesthetics. Chess, checkers, Go, Connect 4, all the greats. Alternative to chess, you know, given there's been a big chess fever after, you know, post Queen's Gambit. So I thought, why not try and learn something unnecessarily harder. It links in. I'm currently doing some introductory Mandarin, and I thought it'd be nice to fit in with that. It's an ancient Chinese game. You want to do something a bit more Chinese, and in a way, you know, there's an abundance of Chinese talent in the chess world. I'm aware. Thought a more avant-garde game selection would make for a more interesting journey. There's 4 languages that I'm sort of, you know, there's one is English, which I'm, you know, pretty good at. The other 3 are Spanish, Mandarin, and French. Spanish I've had reasonable experience with. French and Mandarin I started looking at over lockdown, but it's very basic understanding of the 2. I've written this Python code which generates a language, one of the 4 languages. The challenge will be for the entire duration of the video, speaking that language. In addition to just speaking that language, I've got idioms, idiomatic phrases that I'll have to incorporate. Me and my brother did a little bit of Go. We bought a Go set after seeing the critically acclaimed Knives Out, in which they play Go. It's a very good film. The structure, so it generally will be me learning like the basics of it. There's a great website I found that sort of walks you through strategy. Each video will be like a training exercise when I'm stuck in a language that I'm very unfamiliar with. Then I'm going to try and play a game online, put into practice all my training in an online game, and then just keep improving. It's quite fun. Having spent a while filming myself and seeing myself on camera quite a bit from footage, I've realised that I'm almost never visibly excited. Like if I was doing a take where I was making an effort to look bothered. And by the way, you know, I am very bothered in that. It's not the right way to phrase it, but I'm bothered. I'll film something, get some footage, and just think, alright, I nailed that. And I watch it back, and every time I just feel like I'm talking to a distant relative at a wake. So I decided that mustering enthusiasm is not my forte. So this sort of style of video may be me, and it's sort of the way I'm going to speak in these, maybe a bit more in line with my sort of generally understated, uninfused exterior. Despite my face doing its level best to disagree with me, I do enjoy making this video. I will be speaking some sections in English, a necessary respite from semi-Scott Gringo butchering foreign languages. To set a baseline for my Go abilities and my languages, I'll be doing Go exercises of increasing difficulty to see how I fare and get to know the ropes a little bit, and then a game online on a full game with just a small board. I'll also be testing my languages online with people online. Omegle, despite its many downsides. Oh my life, that was a naked man.
Sorry, bro.
Is a useful way to learn languages. Yeah, because you get to speak with natives, and it's free. I also found an alternative to Omegle called Free for Talk. Basically, there are just chats that you can set up and say, okay, I'm this level, come in and talk to me if you want. It's disadvantage that you just end up in a situation where you're both dreadful, and so you're in this echo chamber of God Save the Queen. It's like 2 dangerously inept people deciding to recreate the Large Hadron Collider with a couple of BMXs in their own heads It's just an ill-conceived, messy affair. The following information is courtesy of the British Go Association. So, Go is one of the oldest board games in the world. It originated in China around 3,000-4,000 years ago, and its exact origins are unknown, but there are quite a few myths about it. One being that it came about by an emperor inventing it to enlighten his son. In China, Go is actually known as Wei Ti, which literally means surrounding game, and was known and was definitely known by the time of Confucius, and had become one of the 4 accomplishments to be mastered by Chinese gentlemen. Go was one of them amongst, or Wei Ti. Wei Ti was one of them amongst learning an instrument called the qin, calligraphy, and also painting. So yeah, very much about their arts. Despite being created in China, historically it's flourished in Japan. The Chinese are thought to have caught up of late, and annually there's a match between China and Japan. It's pretty mental. It's a seemingly simple game. There's 2 sides. There's white and black. The aim of the game is to score as many points as possible, where a point can be scored by capturing the stones, what are known as stones, these sort of bead-like things, capturing the stones of the opponent, or securing territory, which are basically where it's the intersections of the lines that go across the board. Each one of those is known. So if your stones are surround a little block, each one of the intersections counts as a point within, because you've secured that territory. It's played on a board of varying sizes, 9x9, 13x13, or 19x19. Each stone, when placed down, will have what is known as liberties, which describes the number of intersections of lines that directly surround the stone. The maximum you can have is 4. If the stone has no liberties left, and each liberty is surrounded by opposition stones, your stone is being captured, which is a way to win a point. The game ends when you've each skipped a turn, and then you count how many points you have. Black always starts, which is considered a significant advantage, and so white, there will always be 7.5 points added onto the white score to even that out. The half point is to ensure there are no draws. I think early days you've got to get yourself used to the lingo that they're using. Quite a key one is Atari, which refers to a point where all the liberties but one of a single stone or a group of stones are occupied by the opponent's stones. So that's if you've got a point where you've reached a point where there's Atari, that means that the opponent's ready to take all your stones. Basically, something quite difficult about so far what I've found difficult is just visualizing. I've done a few because so far I've done a few games with my brother, and I've done exercises like there's games on your phone and stuff. I think it's very hard, especially when you have on the exercises where it's a bit longer. It's not just a 2-3 stone move. It's maybe 5-6. I'm finding it very hard to actually think ahead and visualize the stones getting in place and realizing those shapes in my head. I think that's what makes it so much more difficult than chess, for example. In that chess, everything that's on the board will be on the board. When you start off, that's the maximum number of chess pieces on the board there will be in the entire game, and the game is just about the manipulation of those pieces that all move in different ways to get a win, to win. But this just seems a completely different ball game. You're having to. There's something about creating the image in your head of the placement of stones and the pattern that's going to create, with the pattern you're aiming for, and how that has to change with your opponent's moves. And I think that sort of anticipation is quite difficult. But it seems to come a bit unnaturally to me, at least for chess. I'm gonna enter this room, clearly stated intermediate, but very much being a beginner. What a behemoth. I actually can't even read the characters on there. This is gonna be a rough one. It wasn't actually too bad in the end, because they were much better than me in there, but they were willing to humour me and sort of see it and give me some direction, which is nice. There was a lovely Brazilian man and an American, so I reluctantly forgave him for.
Yo soy de Inglaterra, pero quiero practicar mis lenguas.
Disaster.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonsoir. Ça va bien?
Ça va très bien. Et toi?
Bien.
Disaster. Consider the baseline set. Okay, right, so we're starting off with beginners exercises. So here I'm playing white, and I'm trying to ensure that I can take all the black stones. My initial thought is you've got to prevent black getting 2 eyes, which could happen if he gets if black moves to position C1. But you also, I think, if I go in C1, it means that I'm easily surrounded, and I capture my stones are captured. But it would mean that he only had a single eye. That's heartbreaking. I'm watching these back. In retrospect, that seemed much simpler to me than it apparently was to my past self. But all I've got to do is prevent him getting 2 eyes, which this does. This means that even if he's, this move may involve me sacrificing these 2 stones, because he can take them fairly easily. But it means that I'm able to easily surround him. He's only got a single eye, which is vulnerable to attack, and that means that I'll be able to take all of his stones. So the instructions here are to kill black without ko. Ko is where you have an arrangement of stones where both stone sets have an Atari, which could endlessly capture the stones of the opposite black. In this situation, something called a ko threat must be played before another capture can be made. Again, you want to prevent the formation of eyes, of 2 eyes, which would be made possible mainly between positions B1 and 2. So I think that B2 and B1 are the best ones. I'm completely butchering this. That's humiliating. So B2 turned out to be the best one. It gives you the most control. This was about creating 2 eyes, but this was a special scenario called Miai, where there's symmetry on the board, and of course you can only do one. The black can only attack from one side at a time, and so this is just about mirroring his moves on the other side, which allowed me to win. Scenario, you've got to, I think first, got to really assess what's going on, what's at play here. So I could be surrounded by black here. I probably want to avoid black taking C3, but you also, I want to try and find 2 eyes. I want to secure that corner to prevent black, because black has pretty much surrounded me, so I think he's probably in a stronger position. So it was a good idea to secure that corner, get a quick eye in there. Putting that there also prevents black surrounding me. Once I'm here, I've pretty much got those stones, and then I've got an easy 2 eyes, which is impervious to which is solid against black attack. So you'll notice with the you'll notice with the advanced exercises, it's a bit less formulaic. It's a bit more scattered, and the answer's less obvious. You have to do a bit more sussing out of the environment, and you're given much more space to roam. One principle here that seemed relevant: your opponent's best move is usually also your best move. Here, I think I just had no idea what was going on. It was very difficult. To secure that corner, there was just a lot of dead space, and it wasn't clear what direction to take. And this is where I was just confused by the suggestions it was making to me. It didn't make much. I didn't understand why it was wanting me to go in those places. Playing the games went pretty poorly. Stone development was an issue. Once I was in the scenarios given to me in the exercises, I felt I sort of knew where to go with them. But getting there from nothing was particularly challenging. It was made worse by the fact that for this game you have to clock in at level 0. Like, that's humiliating. Like, it's a personal low of this experience so far. And not only that, but getting thumped by level 0. It was twice, and the second one was worse than the first. Humbling, truly humbling. Emphatic victories from level 0. Lots of room is left for improvement, obviously. I want to say intentionally, but I can't. I may cry this evening. For me, little sayings and idioms, something I love using in languages. It's to me what makes it colourful and exciting. And it's where a lot of my humour comes from. I think it's nice to find new ways to say sentences that you have to use a lot. I think that's where a lot of the delight and joy from speaking comes from, is these little idiomatic phrases that are unique and special. In this video I've used 2 English ones. The first being learn the ropes, to see how I fare and get to know the ropes a little bit. And the second being not my forte. Mastering enthusiasm is not my forte. Learn the ropes, unsurprisingly, is nautical. So new recruits would have to learn how to tie knots and manipulate the ropes in order to put the sails in the best position to catch the wind right. And not my forte comes from. This is the bit on a blade near to the hilt, and is the strongest bit of the blade, and so that's where most of the strength of the sword is derived from. So any hit to this part of the sword will it's unlikely to do damage. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye for now.